This was the first time I've ever received beauty box subscriptions in the mail, so I was super excited to get these. And the final one is my glam bag slash Ipsy bag. They just changed their name to Ipsy, which I think is a very strange name. I would not name my company Ipsy. It just sounds like something you would jump rope to or something. I like some kind of toy company. Like, it just doesn't sound glamorous or glorious to me at all.
Hello, my friend. I was sitting yesterday trying to figure out what I wanted to film for this week's video, and it got me thinking about kind of the older days of YouTube and how much things have changed in the last 10 years or so. And one of the biggest things that's changed is beauty boxes. That used to be a huge part of the YouTube beauty space, and now it's not so much. So today I wanted to talk about the journey of beauty boxes on YouTube, how it changed, why I think it changed, and what I think the future is for beauty boxes. So let's go ahead and take a trip down memory lane together. Hang tight, we're getting into it right now. Before I get started, I do want to give a quick shout out to my friend Audra from Audra at Home. She did do this video about 8 months ago. So if you would like to hear her take on this, I will put her video down below. She's one of my very, very best friends. And I loved listening to her thoughts on this topic because she used to unbox subscription boxes as well back in the day. For those of you that may be newer to my channel, you may not know that back a long time ago, back in 2013, 2014, I was primarily a subscription box channel. I unboxed beauty subscriptions, food subscriptions, clothes subscriptions, things like that, and that was my jam for the longest time, and it was really fun. But I think just like a lot of people in the beauty space on YouTube, I kind of got tired of it. But before we get there, let's kind of talk about the journey of beauty boxes and what happened. When I started reviewing beauty subscriptions back in 2012, there really weren't a whole lot of us doing it. The major subscriptions were things like Beauty Box 5 and Birchbox and Allure's Sample Society, which has gone through many different changes over the years. Prices of the boxes ranged from like $10 to $15 a month, but one thing was always the same, and it was the size of the things you would get. They were always very, very small. So you may get a lipstick that was this big. You may get a little perfume vial. You may get a foil packet of a sample, kind of like you might get at Ulta or Sephora today. Every once in a while, you may get like a deluxe size sample that actually had enough for you to really try it more than once. The first major change in the beauty subscription box game was when Ipsy came on. And what they did differently than these other subscriptions was they changed the size of the samples you were getting. They offered more deluxe size samples rather than the small foil packs and things that people were getting in these other subscriptions. You also got the little makeup bag that came with it, which everybody seemed to think was so cool. And you were still paying the same price as you would for these other subscriptions, so people started flooding over to Ipsy from these other boxes. From there, the next generation was kind of the new beauty test tubes, which started, I believe, at least I started unboxing them in 2013. The price point was higher, you got them less frequently, but you got even bigger things than you got in Ipsy. Well, for the most part. New beauty test tubes' big problem was that the value of what you got in your test tube was about what you would pay for the products as individuals. So you may be saving $10 or $20. You may get, $50 value for the $40 tube. And people weren't really liking a whole lot of the things that they put in there. Like, you would get maybe a Tarte blush, but then everything else would be like drugstore shampoo or, a little mini face cleanser or something. And people were just kind of not really digging on it. So that kind of led us to, I think, the biggest impact on beauty subscriptions, which was the beginning of BoxyCharm in late 2013. Now, when I first started getting BoxyCharm, it was all full-size drugstore products. It was, limited edition Physicians Formula and Revlon and stuff like that. So you had this BoxyCharm that was $20 a month that you would get 5 full-size products, and then you had your glam bag for $10 where you would get 5 smaller products. So it gave customers kind of a choice between those two options. But where BoxyCharm really changed the game was as they started evolving their box. They started including the more luxury items, the more Sephora brand products. I shouldn't say luxury, the more high-end products as deluxe size samples and then full size. And BoxyCharm evolved to always having more than $100 worth of product for that $20 price point. And that, I think, pretty much buried everybody else. That was like, well, except for maybe Ipsy, but everybody else kind of crashed and burned. That's when we saw Birchbox just, nobody cared anymore. Beautybox 5 went out of business. There was one called Beauty Army that disappeared. I mean, Sample Society ended up dying for a while. Now it's the Allure Beauty Box. BoxyCharm really changed the game for everything. The other major thing that BoxyCharm did was they started reaching out to influencers even more than Ipsy was. Ipsy was reaching out to influencers, but I feel like BoxyCharm really cast a wider net. They had people like 11th Gorgeous, which they were huge for unboxing these boxes, Kathleen Lights. There were a bunch of people now that were big channels that were promoting and talking about their boxes. And I feel like pretty much all of 2014 was like subscription box mania. It was just everywhere, all kinds of subscription boxes, and that was when I was really doing it a lot. And because BoxyCharms had such a high monetary value for such a low cost, all of the other boxes were expected to do the same thing, and they had trouble keeping up. There were boxes like the Wantable box, do you remember that one? Mimi box, which was a Korean beauty subscription that I personally absolutely loved. I hated when that one went out. That one was fabulous. What else was there? There was one called Yuzen box that I used to do, which was independent skincare companies. But like I was saying a minute ago, the $25 in value for a $10 box just wasn't good enough anymore because of BoxyCharm. Because of this huge boom in subscription boxes, specifically beauty subscription boxes due to BoxyCharm, the bubble was bound to burst. And I feel like it started bursting when customers of these subscription boxes started accumulating so much stuff. Because BoxyCharm was giving full-size products, how fast can you go through a full-size moisturizer? How fast can you go through a full-size cleanser or a hand cream? And I think some people just got overwhelmed by the mass amount of products that they were purchasing through these boxes and then not using and kind of getting buried in them. I mean, we all only have one face, and a lot of people just don't have storage for 7 moisturizers. And the other thing that I think went wrong is the amount of spoilers that were so easy to run across. Part of the beauty of subscription boxes was the surprise. It was one thing people got really excited about was, what am I gonna get in my box? It was like playing the lottery. You didn't know what you were gonna get. But now with it being all over social media, I feel like it was hard to avoid those spoilers and get that joy of a surprise. And besides being overloaded with products in general, I felt like at the time there were certain products that were more common in beauty boxes. Black eyeliners. I don't know how many black eyeliners I got from 2014 to 2016, but way too many. Liquid lipsticks in bright colors that I personally were just not my jam. Just so many things that I felt like natural eyeshadow palettes, lots of natural eyeshadow palettes, just so many things that I felt like I just already had this stuff. And when you get this doubling up of products, you realize that you probably would be happier spending your $20 on something you know you're going to love rather than getting that discounted box when maybe you won't even really want anything. And I think also, especially in recent years, we're starting as a society become even more aware of the waste that the cosmetic industry creates for the environment and just in our lives in general. And when you have all these products just lying around and not being used, maybe you don't have anybody to gift them to, maybe you don't have a local shelter near you that you can donate them, just sitting around and realizing how much waste we're creating by purchasing things that we don't want and we don't need. And really and truly, I feel like beauty boxes, what made them so special back in 2013, 2014 was the novelty of them. They were interesting, they were exciting, they were surprising, and I just don't feel like they really are anymore. And it's kind of sad. But one thing I do think could save beauty subscriptions is the choice option, to be able to have a bunch of choices of things that you may or may not want instead of that surprise factor. Maybe offering the surprise factor for people that want it, but then also offering people more customization options. And we are seeing that more and more with beauty subscriptions, those customization options, because I do think people still enjoy getting a large value of products for a less expensive price. I think that combination with the choice is really going to make a difference. And when beauty boxes can make that adaptation, I think they're going to be very successful. The big challenge in that is just having enough choices that people are interested in, and I can't imagine how difficult it must be to do that. Personally, I think that it's going to be very difficult for beauty boxes in the near future to come back to the boom that they were back 5 years ago or so, 7 years ago. But we have to remember everything is cyclical, so I would imagine there could be a revival of beauty boxes in another 5 to 7 years. In the meantime, though, I do think that that customization option is going to be what is going to keep this generation of beauty lovers interested in beauty subscriptions. So at this point, my friend, it is your turn in the collective brain of makeup awesomeness, where we help each other not to buy crap and to buy things that are totally worth it. I would love to know your thoughts on this topic. I find it absolutely fascinating. I would love to know your thoughts. I know some of you have been buying some beauty subscriptions just as long as I have. Some of you maybe never bought a beauty subscription. I would love to know why, or if you used to and you don't anymore, or maybe you've never gotten one and you're looking into maybe getting one. All of those thoughts are more than welcome down below. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to hang out just a little bit longer, YouTube should be recommending a couple of videos for you right over here to watch. But if it is your time to go, it is absolutely no problem at all. Thank you so much for hanging out as long as you did, and mad love to you. And I will see you in a video very soon. Bye!